gentlemen, Damian Nelson coming here from the Pro Wrestling Report Online Studios. We said there'd be no Raw update or wrap-up this week. However, the situation did develop. We were able to present one to you, so here we go. Raw for September the 25th, 2006, coming from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Commercials have aired all week saying don't miss the first 10 minutes of Raw. Coming off the heels of the TNA No Surrender pay-per-view with the blockbuster announcement of Kurt Angle last night, we see Raw start off with a bang and then lose power. The entire building went dark, which we haven't seen in a wrestling program since WCW Nitro when they blamed it on WWE. The last time we saw anything like it was when TNA had a fire at their last pay-per-view. But WWE had to really spin their wheels and try to figure out how to put on a show. We saw Lita come out for her matchup. Candice Michelle came out first for her matchup with Lita. And Edge was a special guest referee by Lita. Edge comes out, and then the match happens, sort of, kind of, because John Cena runs in. And then it's Edge and Cena in a mouth-to-mouth match after a commercial break where the power is back on. And then the two of them playing to it very comically. Edge telling Cena that he thought the next thing he was going to say was that he's the reason the power came back on. Very, very nice comment by Edge. However, the whole thing went too long. Finally announced was for the end of the night on Raw would be John Cena one-on-one with Lita, with John Cena having one arm tied behind his back. It's keeping me very, very looking forward to the final matchup on Raw tonight. Not really. Then it's a matchup that we saw plugged a little bit earlier on when they were spinning the reels trying to talk about what was going to happen tonight during the power outage. Well, it was Kane going one-on-one with Nitro. Another match that didn't end with a winner because Umaga came in and attacked Kane, used the stairs, a steel chair. Kane knocked out cold, and then Estrada telling Kane never put his hands on him. That one apparently not over, and we'll see that push forward into the next couple of weeks here on WWE programming. Then there was the funniest part of the night so far. D-Generation X backstage doing the little merchandise plug thing. Well, then Maria walks up, and Triple H tells her what they say, which is suck it, and then tells her that in her ear. And then tries to show her a visual, which is very funny. Well done. DX plays off. Then in comes Eugene, who we haven't seen much of lately, but he faints after hearing those two words come out of Maria's mouth. Very comical piece of promo from the back on WWE Raw tonight. Then we saw WWE 24/7's This Week of History. It was Andre the Giant, This Week in History, Andre the Giant and Gorilla Monsoon in a boxing match in 1973. It's always great to see the nostalgic footage brought out of the WWE archives and shown on air for us at home to enjoy. Shelton Benjamin is backstage with Coach, the executive assistant. Now keep in mind, folks, the first 10 minutes have elapsed, and we haven't seen anything spectacular other than a power outage. So all week, last week, we're hearing about don't miss the first 10 minutes of Raw, don't miss the first 10 minutes of Raw. We see a plug earlier in the day on WWE.com that Eric Bischoff is in the building. We know something is going to happen. DX is in this triple threat or gauntlet match. It's got a lot of potential, but nothing happened except for a power outage. So is that really what they wanted us to tune in to see? Was the power outage? Maybe it was all work. Doubtful, very much so. But anyway, Shelton Benjamin talking to Coach backstage. Shelton Benjamin saying he's being held back because he's black, which later on in the show, we see the black champion from Smackdown show up. So, not sure that's the case, Shelton Benjamin. Unique angle that they're playing with him. Don't really want to see it. But good banter between him and Coach until Jeff Hardy comes out talking black. And then the match is made by Coach. It is Shelton Benjamin versus Jeff Hardy, a match that really has a lot of potential and seemingly was going to deliver a phenomenal contest later on tonight. Hopefully it's the beginning of a program between the two of them, because you do have Shelton Benjamin, one of the greatest athletes ever to pass through a WWE ring, and Jeff Hardy, one of the craziest athletes to pass through a WWE ring. We come back from break, folks, and it is the Spirit Squad, Mikey to be exact, going up against Ric Flair in a match. Really, why are we even seeing it, or why is it even taking up time? Mikey loses, Ric Flair gets the pinfall victory. Spirit Squad leaves. Really no significance in that matchup, folks. It's almost like it didn't ever happen. And then it's the D-Generation X Tag Team Gauntlet. Been looking forward to this one all night, folks. First off, they go against the Highlanders, beat them. Second off, they go against Viscera and Charlie Haas, beat them. Thirdly, they go against Cade and Murdoch, the new superstars in the tag team division, and not quite defeating them. except for a disqualification. It was just plain lame, folks. For all the hype that went into this matchup, just lame, just completely lame. D-Generation X, I think, losing quite a bit of steam, in my opinion. Then we see another Crime Time training video. Again, folks, I said 2 weeks ago that it's getting pretty funny what they're doing with the Crime Time gimmick, and it'll be interesting to see what they can deliver in-ring once they finally debut on Raw. Then the matchup that, again, like I said earlier, had a ton of potential. Jeff Hardy going one-on-one with Shelton Benjamin for what I believe would be their first encounter. Good. It was a good match, but not as good as it should have been, or could have been, or will be. Jeff Hardy gets the victory in that matchup over Shelton Benjamin, who maybe he needs Mama back. I don't know. But Jeff Hardy penning Shelton Benjamin, and looks to be a bit of a feud that is developing between the two of them. Then it's a tag team match out of the clear blue sky. It's Randy Orton teaming up with Chris Masters, the Masterpiece, who is more of a masterpiece than ever, according to Jerry Lawler. Well, you notice how far away the camera was when he was posing on the ramp. Not so much of a masterpiece anymore. He doesn't make their opponents are crazy wide. And Carlito, the next big thing, in my opinion, in wrestling. The matchup is Carlito being a fall victory in the match over Chris Masters, I believe. Well, all that really happened at the end of the match when we saw Orton come in, and it looks like a little bit more of the storyline between Randy Orton and Carlito. And I, for one, will pay to see those kinds of matches. And then Jonathan Coachman is in the ring to introduce the man we saw earlier on WWE.com, the former general manager of Raw, the former executive producer of WCW. Eric Bischoff is back for the first time in about 10 months in WWE, and he is there to plug his book. Well, things go a bit astray when Eric Bischoff starts talking about how he is the reason Raw is the program it is today. He is the reason DX is popular. He is the reason, along with the NWO, that things are the way they are in Raw and WWE and wrestling in general. Can't say that was the last time we were going to see Uncle Eric. Granted, he's plugging his book, which is published by WWE, but I'm sure we're going to get a little bit more out of this, and speculation is going to run wild. As a matter of fact, I got an email from one of you viewers during the program about, does this mean the NWO is coming back? Well, I said on the Pro Wrestling Report last week that there was no chance Kurt Angle was going to go to TNA. Where's Kurt Angle now? He's in TNA. So never say never in the wrestling business. Don't know what it means exactly. We'll see what happens as the weeks progress here. We need something new for DX, and this week is very evident of that. We need something new for DX, and I think getting Bischoff back in the mix is another dynamic layer of WWE Raw that would be worth tuning in for. And then it's the main event, folks. Lita goes up against John Cena. John Cena's got one arm tied behind his back. Edge is at ringside, but Edge was prohibited earlier on by Coach to participate in the match in any way, shape, or form, which, why would he even heed that warning when Umaga was given the same dictate earlier, but interfered in the Kane matchup and didn't get any type of punishment for that? But be that as it may, we're not supposed to think, we're fans. We're not supposed to think. But be that as it may, obviously Cena wins the match in short time, which was necessary, but the big story comes with the run-in at the end. Finlay, William Regal, and King Booker all come down and interfere in the matchup at the end. Remember, John Cena will be on Smackdown this Friday night in a matchup where he teams with Batista going up against King Booker and his minions, if you will. That match on SmackDown this Friday. So a little bit of a good reason for the SmackDown run-in, if you will, at the end. But then Edge announces at the end of that run-in that it will be Cena versus himself at Raw next week in a steel cage match for the WWE Championship. The rematch clause being exercised by Edge. WWE Championship to be defended next week on Raw. Folks, I think this week's Raw was lacking significantly, substantially. Not even talking about the power outage, which of course WWE had no control over. It just was, at times, very lame and had no firm direction. Where was the program going? Where is Raw going? Granted, we've got a while to build up until the Survivor Series, as the next pay-per-view to be presented is No Mercy from SmackDown. But again, lost direction, nothing big. This Raw will be one that goes down in the record books as the Raw that Eric Bischoff came back on, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, folks. Tune on into the Pro Wrestling Report. We'll have a brand new episode for you. We have a new episode up now, actually. You can visit it at our new website, pwrshow.com. You can also tune in this week as we'll have another edition of Viewer Mail up for you to see. This is the Pro Wrestling Report. This is the Raw Wrap-Up. I am Damian Nelson. Feel free to tune in every single day at pwrshow.com, where we've got new content available. For the Pro Wrestling Report, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.